Starmer has been in hot water this week over various decisions he and his Labour government are set to make. However, following his speech, he made a huge mistake and has been wrecked for it and branded a hypocrite, and his net zero plans have also been blasted. Before we get into today's video, please hit the like and subscribe button for more. Keir Starmer has been accused of gobsmacking hypocrisy after it was revealed the Prime Minister's top business advisor attended a No-10 lockdown party in May 2020. Varun Chandra, who serves as Starmer's business aide, was snapped in the background of the controversial gathering, which was seen throughout coverage of the Partygate scandal. Chandra was hired last month to liaise with city bosses and big business on behalf of the Prime Minister. He previously worked for private intelligence firm Hackloit, founded by ex-MI6 spooks, as well as the bust bank Lehman Brothers. Insiders said Chandra was visiting Downing Street for a meeting with civil servants, The Sun has claimed. However, Starmer directly referred to the event Chandra was pictured attending last week. During his Rose Garden speech, the Prime Minister said, "This is a government for you, a garden and a building that were once used for lockdown parties. Remember the pictures? Just over there? With the wine and the food. Well, this garden and this building are now back in your service." Tories were left outraged by Starmer's decision to hire Chandra, given his attacks against former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. A Johnson ally said, "This is gobsmacking hypocrisy from Starmer, and absolute proof Partygate was a political setup to get Labour in, rather than a principled row." Shadow Northern Ireland Secretary Alex Burghart said, "This the sort of rank hypocrisy and double standards that we have already come to expect from this dreary government. The question now is whether Sir Keir Starmer and Sue Gray, his Partygate inquisitor, knew about this when Mr Chandra was hired, and what due diligence they did." Starmer, who pushed hard for Johnson to resign following Partygate, brought across Sue Gray as his Chief of Staff in September 2023. She had been tasked with conducting an inquiry into Partygate while working in the civil service. The report, which covered 16 events between May 2020 and April 2021, included almost 500 words dedicated to the incident. However, the row about Chandra also comes after a number of ex-Labour staffers were handed civil service roles, leaving the Prime Minister facing allegations of sleaze. Net Zero Watch Director Andrew Montford has blasted Keir Starmer and Ed Miliband's energy plans, branding them dangerous. Speaking to Steve Edginton in an interview, he hit out at the Labour pair by calling them lunatics in a scathing rant. "Keir Starmer's plans for net zero are wild and dangerous, I think it's fair to say," he said. "We have reached a critical point in the net zero drive and the move. Prices have been increasing in a linear fashion in the last 20 years. The more renewables on the grid, the more prices go up. As more capacity comes onto the grid, we're starting to see a period where we're producing more electricity than we actually need. Essentially, each new wind turbine you bring on gives you less electricity, but at the same cost. That is going to drive prices up exponentially from now on. It's really going to get quite dangerous. Ed Miliband and Keir Starmer in particular are fanatics on this." Energy Secretary Ed Miliband has insisted the Labour government will play a leading role in the push for net zero. He said in July the UK needed to change course and was off track in an interview with The Guardian. "We have taken the manifesto position we have because we think it is the right thing now," he said. "But it is also right that we fill the vacuum of leadership on this issue. We now have a government that is explicitly going along with the climate delayers. We have to change course as a country and as a world, and this election is an opportunity for us to change course." Labour have set out an ambitious energy policy in the early stages of their tenure, with a new state-owned company to come. The UK government has started recruiting staff to help set up GB Energy, with plans to unveil the much-anticipated location of the headquarters. In other news, after a 20-year hiatus, John Swinney has stepped back into the role of nationalist leader in time to address the 90th SNP National Conference in Edinburgh this weekend. His retaking of the reins comes after 12 testing months, which were somehow more difficult than the previous most disastrous year in 2022/2023. Scotland's 7th First Minister now stands at the head of a minority government, reaching out to a shrunken membership and represented in Westminster by a group of MPs diminished by 3/4. In August, it was revealed that somewhere in the region of 10,000 independent supporters have cancelled their memberships since the previous summer. While Mr. Swinney was enjoying his one and only year of retirement from frontline politics, Police Scotland charged former SNP Chief Executive Peter Murrell with embezzlement in April, following the prolonged Operation Branchform investigation into missing party finances. A cascade of fallings out relating to gender ideology and green targets saw Humza Yousaf prematurely sever the power-sharing agreement with the Scottish Greens in a bid to prevent the tail wagging the dog, ultimately leading to his resignation, and John Swinney begrudgingly turning off his out of office. Even while the party continues to recover from Humza Yousaf's dramatic miscalculation, his strength of character in the eyes of the party is etched in stone, illustrated by the opening minutes of Deputy Leader Keith Brown's conference speech yesterday. "A lot has happened since we last gathered in Aberdeen," Keith Brown told the Edinburgh International Conference Centre, demonstrated the values of inclusion and international solidarity that this party prides itself on, and in particular, his passionate advocacy for peace in Gaza during what were times of unimaginable torment for him and his family. Quickly, Mr. Brown gave thanks to the party's departing MPs and addressed the damage wrought by July's election result. "In the aftermath of the general election," he said, "we have to make sure we understand in order for us to better prosecute the case for independence. We've shared significant challenges within our party over the last 12 to 18 months, and in July we had to bid farewell to too many dedicated ambassadors for independence. The snap election cost the SNP dearly, losing 39 seats in a 22% swing to Labour, and the 8 weeks since have been equally bruising. A grand total of 25 SNP MPs lost their seats, while 9 more stood down before the election. Scotland's governing party won't have to wait long for another opportunity at the ballot box with the 2026 Scottish elections drawing closer. But a chance to reverse their fortune is an equal opportunity to seal their fate. Now we've got an election and independence to win, so we have to move forward," Keith Brown told the EICC delegates. "We have to learn the lessons of the past, of course, but we also have to focus relentlessly on Scotland's future. Our opponents would have you believe that the SNP and the cause of independence are finished. They suggest it's time for us to pack up and go home. But the idea of independence has faced much bigger setbacks than this," he said, visibly affected by the air of disappointment in the room. Keith Brown went on to address the growing black hole in SNP public spending. He lambasted the press, calling out a trend among journalists to disallow the SNP government from pointing the finger of blame at Westminster. What are your thoughts on Keir Starmer? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe and join our fast-growing community. Take care. Peace.